Why Obama is one of the most consequential presidents in American history. Barack Obama's presidency marked a significant chapter in the nation's story, characterized by moments of hope, change, and challenges. From being the first African-American president to implementing landmark policies like the Affordable Care Act and navigating the country through economic turmoil, Obama's impact on American politics and society is undeniable. By exploring the reasons behind his historical significance, we can appreciate the complexities of his presidency and the lasting influence he has had on the nation. Join me as we delve into the compelling reasons that make Obama a truly consequential figure in American history. Barack Obama's administration, which ran from 2009 until 2017, made an indelible mark on the history of the United States of America. His presidency took place from 2009 until 2017. As a result of significant legislative achievements, substantial societal shifts, and long-lasting repercussions on the political landscape of the nation, this objective was successfully realized. Upon taking office, President Obama was immediately confronted with the daunting job of guiding the nation out of the Great Recession, which was the most severe economic recession since the Great Depression. This problem was immediately a formidable obstacle for him to overcome. His strategy included the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009, which provided $787 billion to the strengthening of the economy. This was one of the most crucial components of his approach. The purpose of this stimulus package was to generate employment opportunities and to boost consumer spending. Additionally, it offered financial support for a wide range of initiatives, ranging from the renovation of existing infrastructure to investments in renewable energy sources. A further collapse in the industrial sector was stopped as a result of the bailout of the automobile industry, which helped to protect thousands of jobs and was particularly beneficial for companies like General Motors and Chrysler. Through the implementation of more stringent regulations on banks, the establishment of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and the establishment of mechanisms to wind down failing financial institutions without resorting to taxpayer bailouts, the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act of 2010 sought to address the systemic risks that were present in the financial system. These measures were taken in an effort to address the various systemic risks that were present in the financial system. It is possible to argue that the reform of the healthcare system was the most major domestic accomplishment that President Obama accomplished during his presidency. Millions of people in the United States who did not have health insurance before the passage of the Affordable Care Act, ACA, were supposed to receive coverage for their medical expenses. The number of people in the United States who did not have health insurance was significantly reduced as a result of the Affordable Care Act, ACA, which included the installation of an individual mandate, the subsidization of insurance premiums for families with low and intermediate incomes, and the expansion of Medicaid. The Affordable Care Act, ACA, also specified that all health insurance policies must provide coverage for essential health benefits. This was a requirement that was placed on all policies. A significant number of people saw an improvement in the quality of their health care coverage as a consequence of these benefits, which included preventative treatments, maternity care, and mental health treatment therapies. A substantial amount of emphasis was placed on the protection of the environment and the avoidance of climate change within the policy agenda that was implemented by President Obama. The implementation of the Clean Power Plan, which established high objectives for states to cut the amount of carbon pollution that originated from power plants, was one of the ways in which he made the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions a key priority. During his administration, major expenditures were made in the technology of renewable energy sources, including providing support for the development of wind and solar power. In addition, they enacted standards for fuel economy for cars, with the objective of achieving a twofold increase in the efficiency of automobiles and trucks by the year 2025. Obama has been instrumental in revitalizing global efforts to address climate change, and the United States of America has committed to reducing its carbon emissions by 26 to 28% below 2005 levels by the year 2025. This commitment was made by the United States of America. The commitment in question was made during the course of the negotiations for the Paris Agreement, which was a significant event on the international stage. President Barack Obama was a pioneer in the field of social improvement throughout his time in office. He was the president who reversed the "don't ask, don't tell" policy of the military, which made it permissible for people who identify as LGBTQ+ to serve openly in the armed forces. This occurred during his presidency. The judgment that the Supreme Court made in the case of Obergefell v. Hodges which prohibited marriages between individuals of the same gender in any part of the country, was something that he considered to be a huge step toward equality. Furthermore, in order to protect undocumented immigrants who arrived in the United States when they were young, President Obama adopted administrative acts. The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals (DACA) program, which provides temporary protection from deportation and permits to work, was one of the acts that were taken as part of these efforts. The strategy that President Obama took in the realm of foreign policy was characterized by a combination of diplomatic efforts and military undertakings. This technique was employed to address a variety of issues. One of the most significant victories in the fight against terrorism was the operation that took place in 2011 and led to the death of Osama bin Laden. In addition, it provided a sense of resolution to a significant number of Americans, nearly 10 years after the terrorist attacks that occurred on September 11, 2001. In light of the fact that the Asia-Pacific area is both strategically and economically significant, President Obama has taken attempts to direct the foreign policy of the United States toward this region. The Iran nuclear deal, which was technically known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, intended to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons in exchange for the relaxation of economic sanctions. This was done in exchange for the lifting of economic restrictions. This was a manifestation of President Obama's preference for diplomatic solutions within the context of the conflict rather than military engagement. The manner in which he has handled the Syrian civil war and the rise of ISIS, on the other hand, has been the focus of criticism. However, there are many who contend that his reluctance to interfere in a more forceful manner was the root cause of the conflict and the growth of extremism. Barack Obama was the first African American to ever assume the position of president. His presidency had an effect not just on culture, but also on the symbolism that was associated with cultural practices. The continued fight for equality and racial equality in the United States came to a significant turning point with his election and subsequent re-election. Both of these events were significant milestones. His personal history, which was defined by his mixed-race origin, and his upbringing by a single mother, struck a chord with a vast number of individuals in the United States and inspired a new generation of political leaders and activists. Barack Obama's biography was distinguished by his mixed-race origin and his upbringing by a single mother. During the course of his administration, Barack Obama was responsible for bringing about important improvements in a number of different domains. His economic policies were crucial in getting the nation out of recession and establishing a foundation for growth that would be maintained over the course of time. His reforms to the healthcare system brought about significant changes to the American healthcare system and made it possible for millions of Americans to obtain coverage. As a direct result of his unwavering commitment to the preservation of the natural world and the advancement of society, significant headway was made in addressing basic issues. Despite the fact that his presidency was not devoid of controversy and difficulties, the long-term repercussions of his leadership continued to influence the United States, creating his reputation as one of the most influential presidents in the history of the United States from the perspective of the United States. Would you like it? Hit the like button and subscribe to our channels for more interesting and informative videos.